mission, on mission, trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Trying to mission, on a mission. I'm on a mission. On a mission, I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transitioning my life. On a mission. On a mission. On a mission.
Welcome. This is Alchemizing Energy, and I'm your host, DJ Genesis. Today, we're here with Baba Yashabiyah, and we are going to discuss Ogun. So let me first play this video, so just in case you don't know who the Orisha Ogun is. Now, Ogun is the Orisha that rules the iron.
When you think of Ogun, the Yoruba deity of iron, war, and hunting, what comes to mind? Power, fear, or even a bloodthirsty Orisha. Ogun has been depicted in a lot of ways and remains one of the most feared of the Orishas, even in Nigeria. However, as with all the popular Orishas, certainly the Irumole, if you don't look into the deeper esoteric meaning, you'll miss the lessons of Ifa. Yes, Ogun is a skilled hunter and a powerful warrior, but Ogun is also responsible for clearing the paths, not just the paths for the other Erumole in the creation story, but for clearing all obstacles on your personal spiritual journey towards fulfilling your highest destiny. Being of good character, Iwapele, is essential for you to fulfill your destiny, but there may be obstacles along the way. Internal obstacles such as procrastination, fear, insecurity, and negative self-talk, as well as external obstacles. External obstacles may include issues like illness, spiritual attacks, and poverty. Ogun is the symbol of truth, helping us decipher whether it's an internal or external obstacle and facilitating the necessary transformation that must take place in order for us to achieve the goal of fulfilling our destiny. Ogun is a provider. Ogun is a protector. Ogun is a symbol of truth. Ogun is a formidable force of nature. Friday was Oshe Ogun Worship Day. If you would like to know your Orisha's Worship Day, head on over to the blog at nigerzen.co and check out the monthly Isheshe calendar and Oriki. May you be filled with the determination of Ogun, and may the energy of Ogun clear away all obstacles in the way of your spiritual growth. Ashe Lodumare.
All right, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. So, Ogun, the Orisha of war, or the path clearer. Okay, so is it like a thing almost where everything got to get tore up in order for it to like be cleared out first? Like, how does that work?
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna have to go back and pick up, because what people don't realize, and I want to say this is no attack. This is a fact. If you're following the Yoruba pantheon, for that their year starts in the month of June. You got to go to the beginning of the celestial year, which is during the equinox, coming up of the moon. And Ogun is the one that started this year at the equinox. So it falls under the heading. Everybody's operating. Every Orisha is operating under the guidance of Ogun. there is a thing called the thesis of Shem, and this is the term they use, but in it, talks about whenever Ogun comes in a particular sign at the beginning of the year, that means that the earth, when there is a solar situation in the eclipse, that means that the earth is under judgment because the earth is trying to realign itself because all of the negativity, all of the things going in your thoughts, all these different consciousness is fooling with the rhythm and the spirit of the earth because there is an Orisha that governs the spirit and the nature, the birth of the earth. And I don't know right offhand, but when the earth came into existence, there are a group of Orishas that came in with it to guide it. And sister, what I was saying earlier, I wish that a lot of our brothers and sisters quit arguing about it. If we're going to let the world know, matter of fact, what Ambambola said was strictly this, and I have to hold to this. I hold to this. He says that he said that if I will mend our broken world, then how can he mend a broken world when we can't come together on what specific ideology we're going to follow for this diaspora? As I was saying earlier, we have to operate on it's called IFA for the new millennium. We have to operate on what they call the 13 constellational alignment. Yes, and we're not. We're still operating. If you look at over in Africa, in our Cuban, what Africa was under the conquer, they're still using some of the things of the zodiac, and they got 4-day weeks like that, and certain reaches on certain days. But when you go back and look at the that what came in this past year at the solar eclipse, Ogun was the one that was in charge when the thing broke free, and the whole earth is under judgment because it's time for truth to rise. It's time for things to be set aside, and many of our spiritual leaders and things, we're so busy arguing over beliefs and ideologies that we did not create, and now our whole world is in shambles. Remember that when we left the Olorum to come to the earth, we came with a divine purpose and an assignment. We came with the time to make the world a better place, than make it a better place, when we got here. And we have failed to do so because we let everything else come in and distract us from our purpose. So we're not even on track. That's why the world is in a turmoil while she's trying to correct herself. And we're not doing our job as Babas, as spiritual leaders and Eonipas. We're arguing about concussion and tradition, who can't be initiated, who ain't got to. But remember, this is why I teach IFA from an esoteric metaphysical, because old tomorrow don't care what, as long as we're using the system of communication, matter what you want to practice, but don't let that be the source of whether or not you can grow spiritually. I like what you did when you played the thing about Ogun. He's trying to get us to get Iwa Pele. We can get Iwa Pele, get our character straight, we can get the world straightened up. But all this madness that's going on, we're letting things get out, arguing over kindergarten cosmology. We're arguing over this, that, and the other. And the world is going to hell in the handbags. And it's going to be our fault. I want that to soak in. I'm not asking you to agree, my fact. I'm like the brother. You ain't got to agree. Don't believe what I'm saying. Do the research. Look at. That was a divine prophecy that went out at the solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
That told us what everything that's going on right now is already occupied. They're following a playbook, even with the stuff going over there in Iran. What they fail to realize, and you military, don't look for them to strike. We've got military bases over there near where they are that's in trouble. They're on high alert right now. You understand? We got lies. So what do we do now? Because it's wartime. There is a great metamorphosis going on in the world on both sides, physical and spiritual. A lot of folks are leaving the church and leaving what you call organized. They trying to find a way. How do I save myself? What can I do to improve my quality of life? How can I effect change in my world? And we're chasing a lot of wolf cookies. If we would do what Ifa say do, And I've come to this conclusion. If rather than following, let me slow down because I am excited. I am so excited what he finds doing. The thought came to me today. If we took every book that ever Baba Law has written on the old dudes, how many can we find that are consistent with the same definition and same way of handling it to get that outcome? Can you help me out with that?
I would say they would all be different. They would all have different things.
And that's the problem, because if I go back to William Bascom, who put out the first book, when we first got encountered about the divination system, what did he go through and how did he come by and where he get his interpretation from and to write the book? That's the first book I ran into, was by William Bascom. The next book I ran into was by another young man. It's called this. What is that? Just give me a second, because I've got all this stuff on this. I ain't got to think about it. I got all this stuff. I've got this.
So right, you have like several different books by different Babalawos and different scholars, and they all say different things because they have different people that told them it. So it's almost like playing a game of telephone.
Yeah. And
then you have, because it's an oral tradition, you have so many different like ways that different families do it, so that you get one family that's used to doing it. So is it more of a traditional religion based on each family, like this passed down from each family? So how I run my household might not be how other people's run their household. So when people are writing this book, they're writing a book based on that household and not specifically IFA as a whole.
So yeah, I'm glad you said it, because that's where the problem come in. We do need a grand council of elders who can sit down and give us a formula, because otherwise, like it said in the in Ephiaism, the complete work of Orunmila, it says that Ephi philosophy, and excuse me for standing, Ephi philosophy is the oldest form of knowledge revealed to mankind. Unfortunately, the revelation of Orunmila have since been, beginning of time, been shrouded in utter secrecy, and those who could afford the time and leisure to acquire it had no means of leaving records behind them. Well, we got a way to leave the record behind now. So I think it's time. That's why it says that E5 for the new millennium. This millennium is going to be the one that's going to have to take to help straighten this thing out, because it's falling on our watch. I went to my library and I put them in order. And this is how William Bascom. Now I got the hardback. I'm bringing up this is William Bascom paperback.
Yeah, I have that same book. I have
you
that
got
book.
that.
That's like one of the first books you end up getting when you get into IFA.
Okay. The next one is this one. That's the second one came out.
Okay.
There's another one on the shelf, and I had to bring it out. There's another one.
The Holy Odu. I think I had that one too.
Okay. And that's one that a lot of like Santero uses. And I think you said you gave yours to Oreste.
Yes. No, it was called E5. It was like an E5, and it had all the Odus in it. Yeah, I paid some good money for that book too.
Yeah. Yes, man. Like I said, I've got, and what I've done, I went through and I studied all these different brothers formats and things. And then there's one that's written by a sister. So let me get her. Definitely get her.
Is that the Mami Wata with Madam Zogbe?
Now this is she's phony.
Okay.
She's the oldest one.
I think it's called the
fundamentals of Yoruba religion.
No, this one was about the female priests
Yeah.
and it was called the. Oh man, I can't. My brain is not working right now, but it was talking about the. It's a Mama Zogbe, and it is called the. Hold on.
All of these, I'll use this scenario. All these are chefs in the kitchen trying to cook the meal.
The Sybils. It's called the Sybils. Yeah.
But I'm not
Yeah,
fortunate to have
I
that.
have that book. Yeah, I had that book. I have
Yeah,
to find
okay,
it again.
okay.
That has all the Odus in it in both languages.
This book went up to $700,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
written by Chief Fong. The fundamentals
Right.
and then things in it is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in my search, and there's another one that cost at 7,000 that I sent to Brother Egun Bami
Mm-hmm.
uh, on IFA. And I mean, on the definition system. And there's other ones. Matter of fact, Sister Nikki, I mean, what's her name? Is she Nikki? I sent her a copy of a particular book that had a breakdown in it uh, about about 4 years ago. We was
Mm-hmm.
in connection, and Ami introduced me to her. We was all talking, and I sent her a copy of another one.
Mm-hmm.
So my study through the say 50, say 40, 50 plus years, it was studying other writers and trying to find a consistency in the various old dudes when they got them going. Then it was revealed to me that some of these things was not in alignment based on the cosmology of the old dudes. If Oyeku is the darkness, everything came out of that, then why is Akbe first? Then their heads came. Well, Akbe is when you will go through all these 16 and you arrive to the earth. Every old dude that was born out of Oyeku had to go through a phase as it arrives. So that's why in the book Ifa isn't complete work of a it tells you how each old dude came on the scene and how they arrived and what took place. I understand that sounds like mythology, but that's how it works. It's follow the same process of birth. A child conceived, that's consciousness. It goes through the process, and it's like, and then once it arrives, it leaves the celestial, and come into the terrestrial world, and that's when you come into the light. Then we find out, but with Ogun, now this was what's the thing about Ogun. Every time there is a certain sign come in at a particular either celestial or lunar, that energy takes place. And this year, that's what we're dealing. We'll be dealing with that energy of Ogun when I'm an Aquarius. It has nothing to do with Aquarius. We're operating under the spirit and energy of Ogun. And right now, Ozun is the commander in chief that's running things, and the others are lining up with it. Now, today would normally be Obatala's day, according to the training, because too long have we allowed Eurocentric naming of days and months. We follow that energy, and many of us adopted these zodiac signs, which have nothing to do with us. I asked the young man of the day what was talking. Am I talking too fast?
No, everything's
Okay,
good.
okay. And I asked him, if you look at the 13 celestial bodies that govern this particular realm, a lot of folks don't know that there's 13 celestial constellations that deal with this realm, because this is the 13th planet. It deals with the feminine energy. Why do we call it Mother Earth? You don't call it Father Earth. And the whole base. So the problem is, so if you leave out one iota of what's in line for growth, you got a stillborn, you got a child that's not quite completely developed. So if you and it's proven fact that they took out what they call Ophiuchus, which among eyes was called Osamara, which sits between Sagittarius and Scorpio. How you gonna take that out and then merge the other two together and say you're accurate? You can't do it. When you do it, everything's out of balance. So that's why the earth is in a wobble. Now the big fear now, what's going to happen in 20, I mean, and what is it? The year, is it going to be in, what, it 30, 2030?
2035? I think you said 2030 or 2035.
2030. Because the earth is going to survive, but she's going to make these corrections. What do you think happened when Trump went over there and dropped that bomb that disturbed the fiber, it goes deep in the ground and explodes, and it flows off the rhythm of the earth. See, we don't realize the danger that we're doing because we don't understand the laws of nature. We don't understand the vibration, and the earth is a living organism. You can bring pain to it. IFA teaches us this. It has life in it, but you're taking away the very life with all this artificial this and artificial that. And you know what this, that's why we need, if you're going to consult the Orisha and IFA for answers, then stick with that, because everything else is to me, is kindergarten damn cosmology. It won't work. IFA is way older than anything they got out there. And it's no attack, it's just fact. Look at the historical facts and the timeline. They don't want to look at that. You know, and I was listening to the sister from No Attack, and that's just why the night we was on, and they got all crisscross asking about civilization. And don't realize when you look at Bob, it says European civilization. We had civilizations over here and what they call Turtle Island, Tira, long before it was over there in what's called Egypt. Okay, we're fine and good. I'll argue with you about that. But we got fossils and findings and things they got where they found, and you know what place called Rose, Texas is? Rosebud, Texas.
No,
Have you heard of
heard of it. No, I haven't heard of Rosebud. No.
They found dinosaur footprints down there. Dinosaur footprints. Down in I think Rosebud, Texas. The dinosaur footprints. Damn. So this things over here has been around. Matter of fact, what I want to do one day, I'm gonna get in touch with him. His name is Brother L. Bay. I'll bring it closer. Brother L. Bay is the Minister of Information for the Washington Nation, the mound builders. He can give you the whole rundown on every pyramid over here, how old it is, and when it was brought up, because the Empress Bertie C. Gaston, who became the Empress of the Washita, and the Mississippians and the Georgians, which is over here, and how long they was around, and why people call them the mound builders. Why they are in the 1884, 1886 Bible called the mound builders. Talk about what's happening over here in the introduction. A lot of folks didn't know that. Those mound builders was ancestors of ours that have traveled hundreds of thousands of years back and forth between Arcubulan and Turtle Island. That's why I sent that thing to you the other day. Well, you know, we don't want to look at that. We want to go get to Egypt and everything starts there. Sure, there's a lot of things. But remember, there was a lot of things that was prior to that people migrated to. How did they get from the Sahara up into what is now called Egypt? You have the White Nile and the Blue Nile and all these things. Why do we have to center right there? One time it was a wet land, became a dry land. Where did they migrate from? You know. And as you know, the story goes, and I may be out there. So we're talking about Ogun. We're talking about the things that what Ogun is working with to try to set the record straight, to bring in truth. So sometimes it takes war. And war necessarily means, as we see it, there is a conflict that's going on, and it's a balance. We make things bad and good, but the earth does not have bad and good. It's called a balancing. It's everything in balance. So you got to adjust certain energies in order to get the balance. And he represents that. Well, see, if you have enough people that's working, then we got this other issue, goddess. We got all these farm beings from other planets and came and set up their abode here, and they trying to change things. Because everybody you see ain't from this. It's not from our origin. You got people from the 14th, 12th, other planets that have arrived here. Then you got those that went out and created fabricated so-called humanoids, test tube babies, huh?
So you have the test tube babies, and and now they're saying that Elon Musk just did like a patent for telekinesis.
Yeah.
So now they're saying that Neuralink, actually through Neuralink, he's able to. How can you patent telekinesis? First of all, how can you patent telekinesis?
And then
we naturally already have telekinesis.
Got it.
But the thing is,
nobody. I'm sorry, but nobody's asking permission.
In particular, that maybe it's new to them. So they have
nobody's asking permission to do. They just doing this thing willy-nilly, and we don't know what old dude is coming in and what old dude governs this thing that he's trying to do. My philosophy, in all thy ways acknowledge IFA, and IFA will direct your path. But these folks ain't asking permission. They just doing things. That's like Trump. He went around Congress and bombed Iran. And everybody's mad. Not realizing he not counting the cost. How many soldiers and people are stationed over there within arm's reach of the Muslims nations over there that they could touch, and we couldn't get to them in time.
Right.
Sons and daughters are over there right now on high alert. Nobody's consulting the source. Nobody consulting the source.
And I wanted to show you this discussion I had last night, because I was on the show with a guy named his name is Witch Doctor, right?
Yeah,
and,
okay.
He we got into a discussion about IFA, and see, here's this general consensus. I think it's like the younger generation. I think that everybody's getting jaded when it really comes to religion and beliefs, And I really had to kind of like we got into a debate about what all these concepts are, religion versus spirituality versus science, So I'm gonna let me speed it up a little bit and I'm gonna play a little bit of it. They had a whole beef. This other guy, they were calling him out because he never spoke up for Malachi York. He made a whole song just recently about it.
Who, 21?
I guess 21 Savage's mom. The reason why she was in Atlanta was because when 21 Savage was a kid, he was actually there on the compound with all of them.
Right.
I didn't know that.
A lot of them left that and then came into IFA because Atlanta got real big with IFA after that.
But though, IFA is like the new Jehovah Witness. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be recruiting like a motherfucker, and y'all use social media. Somebody always got telling you that you was cursed. They know how to. Y'all be recruiting like and plus you gotta pay a fee to go into join. You know what I'm saying? Y'all give it up crazy. Y'all do.
So I did want to address this because I didn't really get to address it when it was happening.
The brother is way off. Did you hear me?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so I didn't want to be disrespectful.
And the thing about it, that show when they go talking about like IFA is not a new religion or spirituality, which means he has no clue. He has no clue, and he's not talking. I'm sorry.
That is what the concept. When people think about IFA, they just have this concept of like tarot, spiritists, all this different stuff.
And that's
why
I'm sorry. That's why it's incumbent upon us that's been there to go in there and defend and straighten out. That's the problem. You just can't let somebody run crazy and say crazy things about it and don't stand up, because that means they don't know. They're going by what they heard.
Exactly. So
and now no matter what he's into, we can show him, somebody like the Jehovah's Witness. No. And one thing about, see, that's what I was thinking the other day. When we first came into this, they had to divide and see if IFA even wanted you to come into it.
Right.
When I came, a
Oh,
lot of
it's
them
so
got to
true.
the money.
You don't just get to become initiated. It has to
No,
be out your reading.
you got to get a read. We got to find out what's going on with you. But anybody say that, we don't proselyte. We don't go out there and look for devotees. Most people on the search comes to IFA because they're trying to find a better path than what they're already on.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
see, to let him do that, he ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my people like I said, man, I don't know what tree you've been setting up on, but the tree must have fell on you because you don't understand nothing about IFA. It's the oldest form of philosophy known to mankind. It ain't no 6,000. It ain't no million. It's older.
Let's go.
Not play. But y'all like the new Jehovah Witness. Look.
No, it's not the Jehovah Witnesses. Jehovah Witnesses is one group that's underneath one umbrella. All these different people have different houses, and so each group runs their house differently. So you can't, it's not organized in that way. There's no main head IFA person that's running the whole shebang. So that's the only difference,
Oh, so
like, y'all the new version. Y'all the new version.
Well, no, we are African spirituality. We don't believe in a lot of the stuff that so no.
Okay.
Completely different thing. Can't even be compared.
But y'all do have other different races other than black people in IFA, though, right?
Yes. There are people in China that practice IFA.
Oh, I know that.
Mm-hmm. It's actually, I think it's over 100 million people that practice IFA.
Okay.
If I got the number correct. Yeah.
Now, dues is not required to join most organizations. You don't got to pay money to be a Christian, a Muslim, Hebrew,
I don't even pay the money to join. Here's the thing: you could just get readings and then pay for the reading, But if you go to acupuncture,
you gotta pay to play this.
You gotta pay for something.
God requires money, huh?
Don't you gotta pay tithes?
No.
You could choose to pay. You don't got to.
Well, you can choose not to get a reading and then just choose to live your life. I mean, if
how are you going to be a part of the IFA and if you don't pay?
Well, here's the thing. What usually happens is that there is, because you have to, of course, the person that's if the chief, if the Baba or whatever the priest never charges for the readings, then how do they survive?
But you need
go get a job. Go get a job.
Right, but if you have 100 people calling you, and that is their actual destiny to be that and only that, then you're not supposed to get a job. Some people are just only supposed to be a priest. They're not supposed to be a moonlighter.
They're supposed to be a priest.
Yeah,
you making sense of nonsense, huh?
No, it's not making. Look, there's some people that are called, and that's what they're. Okay, why doesn't what's his name? That owns that church.
But it don't sound like they were about to say they called. But if they need money to do it, then they're not called, right?
Well, they have to survive. We're living. This is a whole world that is based on.
The call is not a free call. It's not a toll free call. You know what I'm saying?
Who called?
It has to be some. It's called the law of reciprocity. It has to be some level of exchange. Otherwise, how can the person survive?
If they don't have to be money, right?
Well, if I'm a doctor and people come to me to get healed, and I just heal everybody, and I just be on the street healing people and don't have no money to
Isn't that what God did based on?
If you poor, how could you join IFA if you poor? What if you don't got it?
Well, people are poor that are practicing IFA all day long. They either they dedicate their time or they dedicate whatever they have, depending on how it is.
Okay.
So you don't really need money there, right?
You have to survive. How are you going? That's why these churches. Why do you think they need money? It's called the building fund and offering and tithes and all these different things.
That's different. Building fund is really.
I gotta cut this off because I just wanted you to hear how ignorant people can be when it really comes down to something they don't understand.
You said the magic word. You said the magic word. Because they don't have a clue, they don't understand. Even in the church, Christian church, you pay money all the time. Why do you think it's one of the richest organizations out there? There's no such thing as a free religion.
And you could never compare a Babalawo to a
no man
to Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness is almost $1 billion corporation.
See, they don't realize. I tell people, look who started your religion. The Jehovah Witnesses, the Church of Christ, and the Pentecostal, and the Baptists, and the Catholics.
Look at the Catholic. They got their own city with gold and all kind of stuff.
They got their own military. The Vatican is a country. It has its own military, its own navy.
But then they want to say something because it costs for $40.
That is our brothers in that's in the house, in the master's house. They don't have a clue. You know.
You gotta pay to get the reading. You gotta pay to get. Well, honey, well, who do you think is paying?
Don't you pay to go see the doctor?
Thank you. That's what I equated it to. If you and
you come to a Babala because something's wrong. Either you go to a psychiatrist or somebody to examine you. They got a fee they charge for their time. Anytime to do with sickness of any form, be it spiritual or physical, the person in charge of trying to help you, there's going to be a charge. Only back in the day did we have people in the community that just did stuff, that did roots and stuff to help us to get through little things. But with nowadays in time, if you go to the hospital and get an MRI or go get a CAT scan or go get blood work done, you're going to get a damn bill.
And why is it that that's
everybody get paid, but you see that's and excuse my language, that's niggerism. You want everything for free, give me the hookup free, and you're paying everybody else. You can't go to the gas station and get gas and drive away and not pay for it. If you're receiving something from someone, you owe them some kind of compensation. We won't, when it comes to us, we got that welfare mentality. No, that won't work. And that's got to go.
And that's part of the behavior that I'm saying that we're talking about Ogun. We're talking about clearing the path. How can we clear the path that we're in our own way?
And that's the main thing. And that's why I said, and I was going to get the book, but I've been pulling out books, but there is and I may have it on my phone. I'll send you a copy of it. It gave the whole breakdown for the year, clean up to what they would call the new moon this year. And he said, and around the new moon this year, war is going to break out. Well, hell, didn't they just go in and bomb Iran? They've been fighting all the year over there in so-called, is it real? Now, Iran.
Is it real instead of Israel? Is it real?
Yeah, because is it real? No, because what you got in the ancient day ain't the same thing you got today. We saw that. It was created in 1948, the creation of Israel, the state. So what you're seeing now is not what it was back then.
Right. So Israel.
That's the same thing about it.
We're some place that they're protecting really is probably a colony of America that they're trying to protect, that they're trying to have control over there. The
one thing about the situation there, and I tell people all the time, if you have not read the protocol of the learned elder design, and what you're talking about with Ogun, which is about war, we're in the state of on high alert all over the country now because what went down, because this man want to be a dictator. He's trying to find a way to do that. Either he's going to get a war started or try to get a civil war started or declare martial law.
See, they're trying to say that's not even him that's doing it. There's somebody else pulling the strings because he's damn near
well, we've already proven that from the hidden government on your show.
Right. By the way, check that out, the hidden government. If you go under Baba Yashabiyah, we do go down the information about the hidden governments, the actual whole system that's going on with that.
Well, we don't pull it all out. We don't tell who pulling the string, who's the what, who's the puppet, and so forth. It's all, thanks to you, it's on your platform. So it ain't no secret. Just go over there and take a look at it and listen. You ain't got to believe it, but follow the information and see where it takes you. Follow the money. Follow where it's going.
Yeah.
Like I told you about that thing with Elon Musk. Now they back buddies.
Right. They back buddies and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So you gonna play some more of this?
Yeah, because I want you to kind of just go, because it's one thing that this is the reason why we're saying why can't we come together and do it's like, well, this is why.
How many people buy cars and live in these big ass homes, right? All just a lot of scams.
Right.
So IFA is just like another scam.
It's a religion, but the bottom line is that when you actually get your reading, there's certain things that the priest has to do. to clear your energy. They have to get a certain thing, you know what I'm saying, to get whatever the things that they need to help you. And on top of that, you have to pay for your reading, yeah.
So how much you had to pay to join IFA?
Listen, you pay for a reading. And if the readings come out, if there's something you need, then you do that ceremony for that. You pay for the ceremony. You're not paying to join IFA, so to speak.
And you know why they do it?
I can answer a question.
It's illegal to do it any other way. It's illegal to do it any other way, so they gotta charge for a particular thing. Right?
No, that's not how it works because IFA's all over the world. There's not no legal thing that has to deal with anything.
What? Just because it's all over the world don't mean there are no legalities. What are you talking about?
Listen, the IFA is biggest in the Caribbean. What are the laws there?
What's the difference between the IFA readings and psychic readings? Where they be
IFA is based on the science, and it's based on them contacting a spirit. IFA is based on a mathematical binary system that goes into a certain aspects of scripture, and based on that, the Babalawo is able to interpret that scripture and tell you what, based on that number, what scripture aligns with that.
So the IFA use angel numbers out of the Bible?
No, they don't use angel numbers. It's a binary system. There's a 16 Odu, 256 major Odu, and over 1 million stories that go along with them. You know, and so bottom line is that Babalawo, you know, is able to interpret those stories based on an Okwele chain that they throw that comes out with a binary code of zeros and one or twos and ones, and based on that twos and ones, which represent expansion and contraction, darkness and light, whether you are in balance or unbalanced. If you are balanced, you do certain things to maintain balance. If you are out of balance, you do certain things to stay within balance. And most Babalawos charge you initially for the reading, you know, because those readings could go for 3 hours long sometimes. That's the difference.
They use the Bible or another book.
It's actually not a book. It's an oral tradition that is passed down, and then they also have some written based on what house it is. They'll have some of the Odus written down that, you know, because of course nobody can just remember all these scriptures. There's so many scriptures. You can't put it into a book. There's too many scriptures. And there's also scriptures being added as time goes on. It's a growing catalog, a library of information.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. It sounds very similar to the Egyptian stuff that was passed down and the Jewish stories that passed down.
Well, honestly, to be quite honest, the people that the Babalawos did come from, and now Valley did come from Kemet. So those were the priests in Kemet.
Okay, then it makes sense.
It sounds close. Yeah, that's very. There we go.
Yeah. Well, no. So.
What do you think about that conversation that just happened there?
Well, it shows a lack of knowledge of anything, and who is very immature in understanding the whole process. When you equate this to anything out there that's going on now that is younger than this, just watch your people out of time. When you get into biblical discussions in Bible, before they can go back is what's written that they study, and most of them don't know how many different Bibles there is out there. How many times it's been translated and retranslated and transliterated, and that's what problem. Because then you're dealing with he's going off of something he heard and not what he know. See, because he can't carry on a decent conversation. Most time they try to answer a question with a question, and that's running. You can't just cherry pick this. I like how you responded. IFA has its own system of interpretation. You can call it a Bible collection. But remember this, it's a binary algorithm that your computer uses today. Name me one religion system that we'll use today other than IFA when it comes to AI, answering ancestral intelligence that's carrying the world today. Name me one.
I mean, only one I would say is King.
But I Ching came from IFA. I Ching came from IFA, the book of remembrance. I have the I Ching, the mark and the long line, the short line. IFA is way older than the I Ching. Where they got it from? The markings, whether it's X's and O's or lines. You can ask IFA divination and I Ching and see what comes up. IFA divination system and the I Ching and see what comes up.
Just type in.
Yeah, just type it in. IFA divination versus the I Ching. We've already made the comparison of the Urim theorem that's in the Bible. Let's see what we got.
Ifa divination and the I Ching are both ancient systems of divination that use symbolic language to provide guidance and insight. Ifa, rooted in Yoruba tradition, utilizes a complex corpus of oral literature and a system of 256 Odu divinatory signs to understand destiny, offer solutions. The I Ching, a cornerstone of Chinese philosophy, employs 64 hexagrams derived from the combinations of yin and yang to offer guidance on various life situations. While both systems involve interpreting symbolic patterns, Ifa is known for its emphasis in addressing potential problems and offering solutions through ritual, whereas I Ching focuses on understanding the flow of change in line with natural principles.
If anybody don't know, there it is. What do you think?
It sounds like they just said the same thing in a different way.
Right. But now you see, they got the opponent. So, but it says here that we're able to see what it says. If I ever need to talk about
which system is older. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, let's see that.
Somebody else already. They're saying that I Ching is generally considered older than the Ifa divination system.
Keep going.
The I Ching Book of Changes is an ancient Chinese. Well, how would I mean, are Chinese people older than African people?
No.
The I Ching Book of Changes is an ancient Chinese divination text with roots dating back thousands of years, potentially originated as early as the 11th century BCE.
Yeah.
Ifa, on the other hand, is a West African divination system primarily associated with the Yoruba people that also has a long history, but its origins are believed to be somewhat later than I Ching.
But that's not true, because if you look at it, they based on the Yoruba people. They ain't say nothing about the North people that was doing it long before.
You know, it's sounding to me like they don't know, because
they don't know. So they're gonna jump on what comes closest. Okay, the thing about that is we have. I'm sorry.
How could they measure it? Because they can say it is believed to have. Now this is also AI, so we're gonna and see that what happened is that the system had died. Remember, the system had died, and or it didn't necessarily die, but like the Christianity kind of like replaced it in Africa, and so people like were doing it in secret. And so there's no way to really know.
And remember how old it was for many years.
Yeah. There's no way to quantify which one is how old it is. You know what I'm saying? They have records. I'm sure the Chinese have had records, because of Confucius was the one. Wasn't Confucius the person who
Yeah, but it says believed to originate in 3,000 years ago. That's dead right there. 3,000 years ago.
In I Ching?
Yeah, I Ching. It says it is believed to have originated in China 3,000 years ago. So you go back and look at the Sand people, the oldest tribe in Africa, and they saying that they're saying that the Chinese are descendants of the Sand people.
Right.
Right. But
so you think the I Ching came from the Sand people in South Africa?
They got a copy of it from the North people. I mean, we know the Ching, the North people. I mean, the Sand people practice Ifa.
Okay.
Yeah, they practice Ifa. So it originated in China. When was China discovered? Oh, you just passed it. Wow.
The oldest book in the world. The I Ching may be the oldest book in the world. See, they saying book, and Ifa is not a book. There's no book.
No. And the oldest book is I got it in the room and I have to pull it up. Anyway.
No, you know what? Hold on, because you know what? Let me show you how AI can like trick you. Because I could let's say what is the oldest book? Let me type in what is the oldest book in
Pet Hotel. That's the Pet Hotel is supposed to be the oldest book.
the Diamond Sutra. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you see how they like people don't even what the hell are we talking about? So you know it's hard. So this is one reason.
Around 86 AD considered the oldest printed. Nah. Oh, look at you see it's Gilgamesh right there. It's the Epic of Gilgamesh.
21 BC.
Yeah, click on that if you can. We can pull that up because that's where your first creation story. Click on that. I want to share. I gotta share this. The flood, Mesopotamia. You see that? Okay. Now you got to get the flood of Gilgamesh.
The flood of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, half of the story discussed in that you'll find out that they got their story, the ancient Mesopotamia religion, you know, of the creation story of Gilgamesh. Just type that in, creation story of Gilgamesh. That's what we want, you know, the creation story of Gilgamesh.
The Epic of Gilgamesh does not include a creation myth.
Okay, keep going.
It focuses on the adventures of Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, and his friends Enkidu, and their quest for immortality.
Okay.
While the epic does contain a flood narrative, it is not a creation story, but rather a story of a great flood sent by gods to punish humanity.
What?
The flood story and
read that again.
You know what? AI, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I try to tell them, listen, AI is going to give you, okay, it's just going to spit out whatever it finds online. It's not a
based on the old. The flood of Gilgamesh is believed based on the old Mesopotamian flood myth, such as what, and it gave you a name. And this is where the Jews got their creation story from.
He said I Ching came from Nigeria. The emperor in China just wanted to know what happens to him at war, so they reduced the numbers. Okay.
Okay.
So they took out all the they took it down from 256 to 64 in order to focus on the war aspect of what if you're going to go to war or not.
Mm-hmm. They say they did the same thing with the UMM when it came to the so-called Jews of the Israelites, whether we going to war or not. The same thing in the story of David when he went to fight with the Palestinians.
Right.
The Philistines.
So the whole object. So the whole thing. So what are we looking up this epic again? What were we looking? What are we trying to find?
We're looking at the similar because remember the story about Abraham coming from Mesopotamia, right? And you go into that story, then you got the Sumerian tablets and Gilgamesh and all that stuff is tied into that region. Enki and all these stuff. These are part of the storyline. And in the book, Mission 7 of the Bible by Lord Graham, he said they borrowed it from the Eastern. Hold on a minute.
Right.
So hold on a minute.
But yeah, so I just wanted to show y'all how AI can just will tell you one thing, you know, well, or not AI, but you know, you'll get information from one source that says it's the oldest book in the world, and then you look somewhere else and it's like, nope, this is the oldest book in the world. So we don't. So okay, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of like oral traditions. You can't really trace it back because they didn't have a written record back then of who and when this book and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Especially with an oral tradition like IFA. So there's no way to like really trace, you know, how old it is. We just know it's based in antiquity, you know. So getting back to, let me go back to this what I was playing, because I wanted to really show like how much of a misconception people have, you know, when it comes down to IFA and the understanding of spirituality, science, etc.
Back
Right.
then, when they really truly believe in it. Today, it just sounds like a bunch of crap.
Well,
Right.
you can't be in this and not truly believe in it, because why would you pay so much money to get initiated into it?
I agree. And so you gotta be a true believer, and you gotta use this thing called faith. And if they tell you something and it don't come true, then they're gonna say, well, it's just because you're not a true believer, even though you was a true enough believer to give them all your money. See, that's what I'm saying. And
To
that's
be quite honest, I haven't seen too many things that did not come true when I got my reading. Just about everything that they said,
yeah,
you know,
psychic, right? Like a psychic reading.
it's not like a psychic reading.
Yeah, like a psychic reading where she tells you about things that she see, because she knows you're a woman. She's gonna mention that I can see that you have some
It's
internal.
called cold. It's called cold reading. When
No,
you know how to read people,
No,
you know
cold
what I'm saying?
read. If you don't cold read,
What you do?
But how would you know? Like,
because
gotta go
I'm a
deep
priest.
in it.
I'm a priest in the religion, so I know that they're not cold reading. I know that the scripture that they're getting the reading from.
You're a priest.
Yes.
All right, so you can give a reading.
No, I don't do readings. So different priests have different things they do. Some people are called to do readings. Some people are called to do other things.
What do you do as a priest?
Well, I'm more of a conduit. What I've been doing mainly is bringing people, like, if I know that they need healing, I counsel them on certain things, and then I direct them to the elders to help them a certain way, whatever they need. So that's pretty much how I work.
So if I need, so you just the person who, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, like somebody said, right? They always looking for new people. So you the person who looking for new people.
Now, don't let people come to me. I haven't looked for anybody. I don't go door to door and say, hey, join me. No, actually, no, it's not. That's never what happened.
Oh, they just come to you, and then you direct them to IFA.
No, what happens is that I talk to them, and if they say that they're interested, and I put them in touch with the blah blah. I don't immediately go to IFA for certain people, because I know that some people just might be Christian. All right, yes, I have it sped up. I can slow it down, but I was just like kind of like just so we could kind of get through the conversation. Let me slow it down a little bit. But yeah, so let's go.
Yeah. Can you see me?
And they just might need someone to talk to, So, some people I just talk to. Some people, if they say they're interested or want to learn more, then I direct them to certain elders that are able to point them in a more deeper direction. I'm more newer as a priest, so I know my limitations.
Okay.
So you see
right.
how
let's see.
So, they're so quick to want to put it into. They have to try to put it as something that they can identify with. So the only thing they can compare it to is psychics and all this different stuff.
And
the bottom line, yeah,
and Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
This is one of my old books. You see, I got it all taped all up and everything. It's called Misconceptions of the Bible by Lord Graham, and it's in the very introduction. And this is what I'm telling people other night. This book was authored back in, let's see, for most Catholics even on the planet. I mean, was born. This goes back to 1975. Okay, we call the creation cosmology concept. But I want to go into this part, and this is what he said. And this is a white writing. He said, literally, the priestly account of creation is but kindergarten cosmology. Yet we have accepted it for 2,000 years. This is because Western man is incapable of abstract thought. All the metaphysical and cosmological knowledge of the West man has came to him from the East. The ancient Orientals were capable of such thought, but not Western man. And this includes the Jews, and the metaphysical incapacity of Western man put the stamp on his own ego on everything, including creation. Now, blinded by his own error, he cannot see that it is only that part of him incapable of abstract thought that believes in a anthropomorphic creation that's part of him called Christian could not even create a God. They had to create a God or religion for himself. It is not. It is borrowed from other Middle Eastern Jews. And what did they know about other worlds and galaxies? They didn't know that it existed known before it was known among mankind. So his cosmology is less than right, in spite of the many pretending intimacies with creation. So that's why I use the word kindergarten cosmology. He had to borrow it. And that's why I got the other words about where they got this story from, the source. Well, a lot of folks don't know that, and there are other ones. Like we read one day, and where it says that the story of Abraham is allegory. We read that in their book. Well, how many other things in there that's out? As a matter of fact, that book we got it back in, I think it was 80, and I've used it many, many times. But kindergarten cosmology, they thought the world was flat for many, many years.
Everybody's kind of going back to that flat Earth theory.
And you know who started that? Galileo. But he went out and found that it was because they thought that everything evolved around the Earth, and they found out that the Earth was not the center of it, but it was supposed to be in the sun. When he come with the trust, well, hell, the Dogons already knew that.
So why do you think people are kind of reverting back to this flat Earth theory and all this other stuff? It's like this.
It's a regurgitation of ancient thought that's back in circulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But now the funny thing about it, if the Earth is flat, how can you leave the East and wind up in the West? And they say you're gonna fall off the edge. How you gonna, And we just got a lot of people. Well, the little round ball. I don't care if it's flat, round, or triangle. We're here. And
I mean, they're saying, I guess maybe the plane is so big that you'll never find the edge of it. I don't know.
No. Like they told you, man, the deeper you go, the harder it get. If you ever been to Carlsbad Cavern, New Mexico, and I've gone down as far as 3 to 4 miles down, they got a place called Carlsbad Cavern. The further you go down, the colder it gets. I mean, you literally can freeze to death. I went down because they got called the Carlsbad Cavern out there in New Mexico. You go inside.
They don't know. It's a lot of these things that we get told. I think that people don't really even. They're just guessing. You know what I'm saying? They don't. Nobody really knows.
I try to go and experience these things. I've been to these places like Superstition Mountain and all this, and I went there to see for myself because
let's see what
people can tell you a lot of things, but you have to see some things for yourself to really get a better understanding of what you did. So I went down in there, and it was so cold. Matter of fact, there's a place in Kansas City, Missouri side where they store all the like Smucker's jelly and all that. It's inside a mountain. You got to go inside the mountain, and it's so cold in there. If you ain't careful, even diesel will freeze. To pick up loads. I've been in them. I've been in there. So, but back to what we was talking about, Ogun. I didn't bring the book up, but it's talking about when the solar eclipse happened around or near the equinox. What's going on? And everybody's this year's Aquarius and Pisces. That is not the case. We're coming out of. We're going into Ogun because with the vibration and frequency of the Earth is moving now. They're trying to change the frequency, and that bomb they dropped of the day is gonna be some more problem because now they have disturbed the rhythm of the Earth with that explosion on the ground. All these explosions on the ground affects the rhythm and balance of the Earth. So don't tell them what not to come out.
Right.
And that's what we up
against. Then they talk about some bottomless pit or whatever. I don't know. I think remember they had in the Bible about the bottomless pit beasts that come about the bottomless pit in Revelations. It seems like they're trying to recreate something. They're trying to make this stuff happen.
It's a script, but and have you ever heard the story of Dante Divine Inferno?
No, Dante the Inferno.
Yeah, Dante Divine Inferno. Pull it up. Dante's Divine Inferno. We got time. We're in school. We've been about out there listening. They listening. Okay, Dante Divine Inferno. That's it. Okay. See what it says. This is where, okay, there. This is where they got the story about hell. Right there. Would you read it?
Well, okay. Inferno, Italian for hell, is the first part of Italian writer Dante Alighieri's 14th century narrative poem. The Divine Comedy, followed by Purgatorio and Paradiso. The Inferno describes the journey of a fictionalized version of Dante himself through hell, guided by the ancient Roman poet Virgil. In the poem, hell is depicted as 9 concentric circles of torment located within the earth. In this realm of those who have rejected spiritual values by yielding to bestial appetites or violence, or by perverting their human intellect to fraud or malice against their fellow men. As an allegory, the Divine Comedy represents the journey of a soul toward God, with the Inferno describing the recognition and rejection of sin. Prelude to Hell. So you have the poem begins the night of a Monday, Thursday on March 4th, April 7th, 1300, shortly before the dawn of Good Friday. So you can't say that this is where the thought of hell came from, because this was actually before, after the that was written, right? But it's inspired by, I would say the
Well, the
Bible.
thing about that is, why was it the last book added? And now, if you look at the so-called,
So when what are you saying? When was Revelations added to the Bible?
it was the last book added to the canon, and that'll tell you. And everybody said that they borrowed a lot of the things from this particular descending to hell. And and if you look at the
When
descending
was
to hell,
Revelation added to the Bible? 4th century CE. So that's the common era.
mm-hmm,
So what does that mean?
added.
The
And,
fourth.
and guess what? It's incomplete. Why it stopped at 22nd instead of not 23rd, 24? Because it's actually 23 or 24 verses in the original text. Like the Psalms, there's 151 Psalms. You don't stop at 150.
Some Nestorian churches and other groups do not include Revelation in their Bible canon.
Right. John the Isle of Patmos, that's an allegory.
John of Patmos.
Yeah. You see, it's a Revelation generally date back to CE 90 to 96. So was the book of John. The book of St. John written around the same time. So you got Revelation and John written around the same time. Yet it's the last book in the Bible.
Okay, so it says, Revelation, the final book in the New Testament, was squeezed into the canon in the 4th century. So a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, this is telling us exactly what it said."
No, it ain't. It's the last thing in there.
And so this was a writer that named John Patmos that wrote this book, and then now we're starting to. That's just like we could be reading The Ring or whatever, like The Hobbit, and then say that this is what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't even know if this was a fictional book just written just the same as a Dante's Inferno.
Yes.
Like by an author, just like the person that wrote and they put it in the Bible. We don't even know what the reason why that was brought in.
That's why I asked the young man that night on what was Sinai, what year was the earth created? He can. I said, you got to give me a date. One what? BC? That's backwards. Cause 1 BC from that go to AD. So give me. So it shows they don't know, because when you go before the common era, you count down. After, and there was no 0 year, and you count up, and you got those. Now we only because everybody wants to use the Bible to defend what they're doing when it won't work. When you don't know.
And so they're trying to protect Israel, which they're trying to use this whole that they're the people, they're the chosen ones. That's what actually happened with Ted Cruz. He got up on there with that one guy, and he's like, well, those are the he didn't even know about the Jew. He didn't know any of the history of anything.
Right.
And he made that be the reason why we're this whole thing, the reason why we're doing all this over here, blowing
But
up
that's
stuff.
not the reason, because Israel, the state of Israel that was created in 1948 is an offshoot of the corporation that they created in order to control the Gaza Strip.
Hmm.
They took that from the Canaanites and the Palestinians moved in on the Canaanites and occupied the land. And so when they was trying to find a place to move the despised Jews of Spain, they couldn't send them to Africa because they wasn't letting them in. The last chance that was to go and take a piece of land. When we talked about it on your show, it's called the Balfour Declaration of 1948. They started working on it in 1917. It took them to 48 to get it all worked out. They moved them people in there on top of the now Palestinians, took the land. And then they started encroaching more and more on the land. Now they was talking about creating a two-state government, Palestinian and is those are Zionists, you know. Like I told people the other day, that word Israel, Abraham was never called Israel. Nowhere. Jacob was named Israel by an angel that had no name, and it wasn't the creator, because that angel could not stand to see daylight. That's the story. Look it up. And it says, and it was in the pioneer. He was only dreaming it.
Wow.
If you look up that story, it says when he put his head on the rock and when he went to sleep in the pioneer, he had this is where this thing happened at. But all
I just wanted to like address that revelation situation, because a lot of people are gonna get all spooked out and this is a revelation, it's the end of it's apocalypse, you know.
No, it's not.
Everybody, they have been talking about this World War III since since conspiracy theories even began. You know what I'm saying? Since William Cooper came out with that book,
Behold the
Pale
Horse.
People have been calling this, waiting on this World War III to happen, so that they knew that this was gonna be the end. You know,
and they're all looking for it. The other day, in case somebody come out of the sky act like people, that stuff is all window dressing. That's all political satire. And back to this thing about Revelation. Okay. And I know we trust in AI, but something it used to be you could trust it, but there is a revelation of the 23rd chapter of the book of Revelation. See if anything come up. I gotta find my book. I had all of that one time in my collection. 23rd chapter of the book of Revelation. See if anything come up.
It ends with 22.
Okay, well then but there's the 23rd, like it's the 51st Psalm. But I'm about to go to this Hebrew and Greek keyword study Bible. If that's okay with you. And I'm gonna read in the commentary footnotes what it says about the book of Revelation. Okay. And in that particular book, it says the Jews of the synagogue of Satan. And it's
oh, was that? Oh, I did remember it saying that hold on. Okay, I found it. Hold on.
Okay.
It's depending on what Bible you get. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this one? The city of the okay. Revelations 21 and 23. And the city has no need for the sun or the moon to shine on it, because God's Shekinah gives it light, and its lamp is the Lamb.
Yeah. Now, this is the revelation of John, the one we're talking about, the book of Revelation. I'm trying. I got me some new glasses. Okay, the book of Revelation, when it was written around. It says between around 90. It says these are it says the four views of the interpretation of the book of Revelation. The first is the pretending version, place the events of visions, and it goes down and says, the one I want to say, the third view is a symbolic allegory view, which contains the revelation portrait and condition conflict between the force of good and evil. It's allegory. And it says so. Then it talks about the story about the Jews. They are the synagogue of Satan, Laodiceus. It's called the Nicolaitan doctrine. Have you heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
It says, but I have a few things against thee, because thou art, it says, thou art them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who is taught. Balaam casts it, okay, and it says, so that last thing is the Nicolaitan. Balaam is El. So when they say El, they talking about that. And it says, you are the synagogue of Satan.
Well, I wonder what they mean by that.
Well, that's what it says, because I'm trying to get what it says. I think it's Revelation 12. It says, let's see. I know thy works in that tribulation, that poverty. Thou art rich, and I know the blaspheming of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of these things. That's in Revelation 2 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation, go there, 2 and 9. And now, is that anti-Semitism?
Sounds like it.
It's in the book, though.
But that's the New Testament, huh? So is that why
that's where it's all at?
And
these people, and we're all there fighting, trying to become the chosen people. You got to ask them which God is chosen. What God chose you. And the odd thing about it, and we're up on this tangent, it is the most segregated book that circulated among us. He said, you and you alone have I known of all the nations on the earth. We know that's in the Quran too. In the Quran, it says, told them, oh, children of Israel, that I told you above all nations. Amos, I'm above all nations. So does that sound like a God to love everybody or certain people?
Sound like he has a pick. He don't love everybody.
No. Second Chronicles 7 and 14.
If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways,
then will I hear from heaven. I will forgive their sins and remember them no more. If my people are called by, whose name is called by? It ain't Israel. If my people are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked, then will I hear from heaven. I'll forgive their sin and I will heal the land.
Right.
That's like anybody dying for your sins.
No.
All you got to do is what? That called by my name. So what is the name? What is the name?
Who are called by my name.
Yeah, that's ownership.
If my people who are called by my name, whatever that name is, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive. So God's not even hearing none of the prayers, and because they have to humble themselves and pray and seek His face,
right,
and turn from their wicked ways. So is this supposed to be Jesus talking, or who is this?
No, this is the Second Chronicles. Jesus ain't even born yet.
What? Okay. Right.
He ain't even born yet. It's Old Testament.
So what are we? What? And
So what you doing?
Hear their land. So Now, so there's this whole war over there based on this land over in that
That's
area.
not what, but that's because of the invading of what they did in 1948 and how the Zionist Jews is constantly trying to encroach on more land to take that land that when they was kicked out of Spain.
So is this something to do with oil too? Do you think this is about
Yes,
the resources and oil?
yes. Why is oil going up? Because Iran has got plenty of oil. It ain't about no darn nuclear thing. It's about the oil over there.
Hmm.
It's all about resources.
The battle for resources.
That's all it is. Even the thing in Vietnam was about opium and about opium.
Hmm.
Colombia, when they got down, it was about the drugs with guns for drugs. Anytime this country go anywhere, they going for the resources.
Right.
They ain't giving a damn about the folks. And what did Trump tell them in Ukraine? Give us your resources, and we'll fight. We'll fight for you. Come on, man.
Hmm. This
Told
one,
Canada
all these battles are about resources,
about
trade,
resources.
tariffs, this and that. You know, the ability to
Now,
sell goods and products.
and remember, we ain't left Ogun. All this deal with what industry, making the things, wars, and all these things. It's all in that. But the whole thing with him was to build you up, your character up individually. They making this thing into a natural thing where they're taking over people's land and minerals.
So
They
is it
met,
so with this, should we look up Ogun and Osogbo?
yeah, let's do that.
What so would that be Ogunda Meiji?
Well, let's just see because because the brother said he was Oshun, and he got initiated in Osogbo. So what would be the initiation?
No, Osogbo means when you you either come out Ire or Osogbo.
Osogbo, and but there's a place called Osogbo over in
Right.
Nigeria
In
where they go
Nigeria,
do
right.
initiations at. It's a grove or something over there you go into.
So I will have to look up Ogunda
Yeah,
Meiji
yeah. And my point I was making a while ago, I'm telling everybody that's studying especially when they come to me, I say, if you're gonna learn divination, also create you a ledger. And when you ask questions, write down what the Odu was and what was given to you, and then you go through your listing and get your answers. Because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Babas interpretation, they all ain't the same.
and also each okay, just so you guys know, each Orisha is born in a certain Odu.
Right.
So Ogunda is when Ogun is born. So there's a different Orisha that is born in each Odu. So that's what I say, Ogunda Meiji.
Right.
And so in Osogbo, Ogunda Meiji, also known as Ogunda, is an important Odu divination sign in Ifa associated with strength, conflict, resolution, and the influence of Ogun, the Orisha of iron, war, and labor. It signifies overcoming obstacles and emphasis on the importance of order and structure. In Ifa, Ogunda Meiji is linked to the concept of creating two paths with a warning against deceitful friends and disputes. Significant. Ogunda Meiji is one of 256 Odus in the Ifa divination system. It is considered a powerful Odu that emphasizes themes of strength, willpower, and the ability to overcome challenges. The primary Orisha associated with the Ogunda Meiji is Ogun. Ogun embodies the spirit of iron, war, labor, and clearing of paths, which aligns with the themes of strength and overcoming obstacles found in Ogunda Meiji. Ogunda Meiji explores the themes of opening and division, highlighting the importance of loyalty and fidelity. It also deals with victory, diplomacy, and the art of resolving conflicts. Warnings and guidance. Ogunda Meiji warns against deceitful friends and disputes. It also advises individuals to be cautious in business ventures, especially those involving partnerships, and to regularly propitiate Ogun for protection and to avoid misunderstandings. In IFA practice, Ogun Dameji can offer guidance in navigating difficult situations, finding protection, and achieving success. It also highlights the importance of a regular veneration of Ogun and other Orishas like Obatala Ori and Osayan for blessings, protection, and success. Taboo. Certain items and behaviors are considered taboo for those influenced by Ogun Dameji. This includes avoiding specific foods, being mindful of their actions to prevent negative consequences. So, everything I just said, if I guess the opposite of that is when it's in Osogbo.
Yeah. But check this out. Just supposing the Bible, knowing this, you go in and you look at, here we go, Donald Trump's birthday, his name, birthday, day of the week, and find out what old do he was born under. It would tell you how to deal with him.
Right.
Yeah. Simple. He's in this dimension. He came in under an old dude. It said he was born in the month of what was it? This month? He's 79 years old. This month, last month? Well, May, June. So it was this month because he had the parade of the day. You see that?
Uh-huh.
So if we did his birthday, find out, go in his bio, see when he was born, okay, and then look up the year that it fell on, and what Orish was running that year. Do the breakdown, the mathematical breakdown. You'll tell you exactly what it'll do and the nature of him.
Okay, I have to look it up. I wasn't prepared to do that. Huh? Let me do something real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna play this while I look that up, that information up, because
That's
that conversation that we were having. I'm gonna play this because we got as we go through this whole thing. I want to go more into this conversation because there's a lot of. Let me look up Donald Trump's date and birth date and stuff like that.
Yeah, date and birthday. Yeah.
All right.
Talking this shit, you know what I mean?
But you know, Khalid Muhammad, you know, he was kicked out of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, but that don't mean he's not gonna be a Muslim no more.
But I think after he got kicked out, he got more into like the Kemetic type of stuff, like African spirituality type stuff. I don't think he was pushing the Muslim stuff anymore.
There's a lot of people who's Muslim. There's a lot of people who's Muslim that they're not like secular Muslims, you know what I mean?
But it almost sounds like, you know, people can't separate like their faith system from just taking in knowledge or facts, and you know what I'm saying, and trying, you know, and figuring that stuff out for themselves, for, you know, to a certain degree. Because I mean, you can have your faith system, but for me, like I like to know about facts, you know what I'm saying? So whether it be about the Nephilim or whatever, like I might not know about that, you know what I'm saying? But like
but spirituality, like what you were speaking, witch doctor, that's more beneficial to us, right? Believing in that there is a higher power, believing that, you know, that we come from something that created us and the earth,
right,
and that you could give back and they give to you. God ain't giving us shit.
You know what, Bomb?
right.
Spirituality make you open to receiving more information and seek more information, but religion make you just accept and just worship. And that shit is crazy. There's what kind of growth is that? That's how I look at that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
people
you just
control through religion. You're right.
Right. It's like, don't think for yourself. Just bow down and do what you're told. That is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
And you know the most harmful thing, because I never really talk about people in their religion, right? People have a right to believe what they want. I still believe that. The bad thing about that is, though, let's say you really believe, what some of y'all do, right? Y'all really believe in the Bible and everything. And then you go to seek some help, right? You go to a priest or whomever. You do everything right. And they claim they're going to help you through whatever, right? You're praising over you or whatever. And then when it don't work, you know what they told people? Your faith isn't true. Your faith isn't real. So they put the blame back on the individual. But before that one God, there was many gods. So if you needed wealth, there was a God for wealth. Maybe if we're not praising to the right God, that might be why you ain't getting it, right? If you needed rain, there's a God for rain. If you needed, you know, whatever you needed, there's different gods for these different things. That make more sense to me than one God who everybody in the whole universe goes to.
But I would say this
I
is
totally agree.
in Yoruba culture, which is like I would say over like more than 2,000 years old before the Common Era. What they understood there was one main god, Olodumare. The Orishas were they handle things on the earth, but there is one God that created everything. So we did believe in one God, that is the creator of all.
Yeah, you just said 2,000 years ago, and I mentioned that the earth been here way before that. We could go way past 2,000 years ago. Like,
I
here in
think the thing
America,
about the thing about this
I was
the whole
you
wait a
didn't.
minute, the thing about the whole one God, multiple God, one God versus multiple God, I think they both could be true at the same time, because like in and this is just some occult shit. In occult, you know what I'm saying? Occult means hidden culture, you know what I mean? It's not no spirituality, it's just occult. There ain't no specific demographic, right? But in this shit named the Hermetic Principles, or the seven laws of Tahuti, it said that all is mind and the universe is mental, which mean, right, all of us is part of God. So if you want to say there's one God, then all of us is that same God. We just all a part of the same thing. Just like how I could be DJ Witch Doctor, but my pinky finger, that's DJ Witch Doctor too. My other finger is DJ Witch Doctor. My ears, my nose, the cells that make up my body, all of that shit, my cells and the bacteria and all that shit on me, all of them shit's got their own consciousness on its own level. You know what I'm saying? But all of that should come together and make up the whole me. And then me and all of y'all come together and make up and the trees and the animals, we make up the planet Earth, and then all the planets make up the solar system. So like the many versus the one is low-key an illusion, because we always got two identities simultaneously. We got our individual identity, but we got a collective identity that we all is one part of a bigger thing. And that bigger
I
thing,
wasn't able to finish what I was saying. That's
and wait a minute, and that bigger thing I would consider is God, but I won't give it a name and try to claim like, oh, my spirituality know what it is or no shit like this. Some spirituality might call it some shit or some other, because the thing that you're talking about ain't tell nobody a name. It's humans trying to understand the shit and naming the shit. This is why I don't put no spirituality or no religion above another one, because it's just a bunch of people trying to figure it out. But I don't think no spirituality got it figured out. You know what I mean?
well, what you said, there is a religion that believes similar to what you said, except that thing about one God, right? Because that's what they believe. But they also, the closest thing to God on this earth will be a woman, right? It will be a woman. She will be the closest thing to God, right? Because she produces children. Now, y'all would then have an argument and say, well, men, you can't produce the children without men. And to a degree, that's true, except for the fact that not necessarily, right? Because you may give me your seed and I have an egg, but within my egg, I have a baby, right? That's a baby. And then the baby can decide that, I'm gonna make a baby out of me, right?
As you can see, this conversation just got really. Oh yes, you know what? I slipped up with that 2000. I had the wrong. I know it's way older than that. I don't know why I said 2000, but
yeah, because it's known as the Narc. That somebody understood that, and that we're talking about the Narc goes back to 43,000 years before or beyond. That's when the Yorubas ran into them.
But you see how that conversation just went to hell,
Yeah, it went out across the car path, and it's funny. It is funny. It is funny.
Donald Trump was born June 14th, 1946.
Okay, he born in 46, so we got June the 14th, 1946. And what day did June the 14th fall on? You can type that and it'll tell you what day of the week it fell on.
Okay.
If you look on your calendar, you'll see what Orisha.
Friday.
Okay, that would be Shango. Okay, and
Well,
then
I thought they said Friday was Ogun.
no, but Friday is not Ogun. Friday is Shango according to the celestial alignment that we have. That's in Yoruba deal when they set it up, but that's not in the new millennium, the IFA new millennium. They're running 7 days. They run all 7 days when they gave it to us, and you got Shango's on Friday. No, Yah comes on what they call Saturday. Obatalas is that what they call that Sunday. Monday is going to be elect by issue. Tuesday is Ogun, through the week. But see, if his birthday fell on a Friday, that would be Shango.
Oh,
And then you
okay.
got, and if you count up, so if you look at the numbers and count the numbers up and divide it by 16, it'll tell you what it'll do. That he's under even right now. That's what's governing him. Then you know how to go and offset his energy and how to bring him around, because that'll do that he comes under. So we talk about. I don't have my calendar with me, but you got the calendar, right?
Yeah, I don't have it like
You got the sacred calendar of the 13 months. You have to have the 13 months in order to get it cosmologically in alignment.
Yeah, I got it right here. Hold on. I got it.
Okay, okay. Let's do this, and we'll just see where this thing goes. Now we're still talking about the principle of IFA and how it runs and fixed and how to deal with it. See, if we would do an in-depth study based on the science and of IFA, we get a lot of answers and we could solve a lot of problems. But since we got all these different religions and not spiritual, some say spiritual, but IFA is not a religion. It is a scientific system of algorithm and binary that is used in the universe, that speaks to the universe. You know, it's almost like geometry. You know, Pythagoras said, yeah. Let's look at June and find what June the 14th.
Yeah.
Because June is genius. You know, and so when's the 14th fall on, and what'll reach us?
Yemoya. Yemoya.
Yeah, okay, 14. Okay, and what number is that on the chart? 4?
3.
3, okay. So
Oh,
if you take,
I'm sorry, it's 4.
okay, 1946, add 3 to it.
No, no, Yemoya is 4.
Okay, add 19, okay, so add that to it. And the day of the week was what? 14th?
Friday.
Okay, add 14 to that and give me the whole number.
So 1946.
Plus 14 plus 4.
1964.
1964
Yeah.
divided by 16.
$122.7.
Carry to the lowest common denominator.
122.
122. What is the 122nd Odu? It's a combination there now. Of the 256, what is 122?
Oyeku Ofun.
That's him, Oyeku Ofun.
Or also known as Iwori.
Now, give the definition on that, and we got him. If your numbers is right, we got him. Because Ofun represents what, the voice?
Let me see. One 122. Let me see.
Make sure your numbers is right.
Try to find. Okay. All right, so here it is. Okay, Oyeku Fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it says, all right,
Let's see what we got on it.
so people can read it. And what do you know what this letter of the year? Okay, Oyeku Ofun is a combination of Oju, Odu, Oyeku, and Ofun, occupying position number 46 in the IFA genealogy. This Odu indicates that Orunmila desires the well-being of the person ruled by him, pointing out that her life will favor her. Furthermore, she recognized making the necessary sacrifices and making corrections in their behavior to avoid premature death.
Keep going.
Oyeku no Fun is a sign of profound transformation and radical changes marked by the duality and transfiguration of the land and people. In this Odu, Eshu Larufa was born, and with him the capacity for change and adaptation. This sign highlights the importance of the determination and inner strength to overcome obstacles. People ruled by this sign must be especially careful with external influences and avoid inappropriate behavior that could attract misfortune or instability. Do not leave the certain for the doubtful. It advises us to value what is safe and reliable over uncertainties. Abandoning something we already know and that works well for something uncertain can lead to loss and regret. Oyeku no Fun emphasizes the importance of prudence in our decisions. In economic terms, Oyeku no Fun indicates the need for balance and sacrifice. People must offer sacrifice to eschew to ensure prosperity and avoid financial problems. The duality of the sign is also reflected in money management. It is crucial to divide resources wisely and avoid unnecessary expenses. Then there's like some ceremonies to help with ensuring financial stability. Health.
Good health.
Advises a person who works in a profession closely related to the to Ogun to perform an elbow to avoid accidents. Ifa recommends you offer an elbow with 2 rams and money. In addition, he must feed Ogun a dog and a rooster. Health in Oyekun Badora is marked by the need for special care, especially in relation to stress and blood pressure. People under this sign should avoid excessive alcohol consumption as it can be destructive. Pregnant women must perform a vow with specific elements to avoid abortions and complications. This is also signs warn of health problems related to injections and operations, suggesting the need for caution in making preventive sacrifices. Ifa advised the sick person to perform an abode. This person's problem had defied medication. So the offering, so basically the medication could not heal the person.
Now, based on what you read, how close is that to what we got for president?
Well, I think he's sick right now, right?
Oh yeah.
Oyeku no Fun stresses the importance of proper rituals and sacrifices to maintain spiritual balance. And then, they have to do different things. Let me see. In the area of personal relationships, Oyeku highlights the need for honesty and commitment. Women must take care of their marriage to avoid that could lead to misunderstandings or betrayal. Men, on the other hand, must be cautious in their adventures and avoid risky situations without proper preparation and prior sacrifices. Relationships must be nurtured with respect and sacrifices, such as offering the Oshun to ensure happiness and stability. Ifa warns a woman that she must desist from illicit love relationships so as not to lose her life prematurely. Ifa says she will soon be exposed to and suffer shame. Ifa advises you to offer an abode with 2 roosters.
Yeah, right. But
so,
based on what we've read so far, can you give me some information on did Ifa get close or did Ifa nail it?
I think
financial problems. You got all kind of financial problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got all the other stuff going on with him. And he ain't made no damn sacrifice. You know that. Because the white man
Shango handed over the power of the kingdom to Orunmila. So and Shango is like the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not supposed to eat any ram.
He eats anything. That dude just.
It suddenly marks death, sudden death. People are transfigured into homosexuals. drink destroys Nisodu. So if he drinks any alcohol, it could kill him.
But I'm just giving you an idea and just see how close it hits him. And we know that it's Oyeku Ofun, right?
So just so you guys, just to show, to understand, like what when you're getting a reading, this is the type of stuff that they would kind of warn you of. Okay,
Right.
So recommendations, right?
Okay.
Perform the determination of the guardian angel and the slaughter of Osha, consecration. So you have to. This person would be called to go to. If they were just getting a reading, they would be saying they have to go and get initiated because they to avoid death. They have to make sacrifices to avoid having an abortion or losing a pregnancy if the person is going to have a child. Offer a go to a shoe before starting a risky adventure to avoid sudden death. Make sacrifices to prevent the death of a friend before he gets home. Put 2 pumpkins on IFA, one Chinese and the other one Creole. Give Harumila 5 pieces of bread with hutia and smoked fish and 5 cents to take them to the cemetery the same day. So this person is got to be watching out for death.
Yeah. So that's
sudden death is around the corner. He's born under the dude that sudden death is premature sudden death.
Yeah. And these are things that we need to do. This is okay. Wow. So this is his, what's he called, Ita?
Yeah, and injections can become entrenched. So any kind of like needles, it could get infected.
Yeah.
If you get shot with any needles. And I think he has a catheter right now, so hopefully he could end up getting some kind of problem with that catheter because you're supposed to watch out for any kind of injections into yourself.
Now name me any other spirituality can give you that kind of print out or reading on the individual based on, because the time you go there after your birthday and this and when you use the IFA sacred calendar, it nails you with the Orishas and not some Greco-Roman Viking thing, right? It ain't about no zodiac. It deals with that energy.
And also, so it looks like they have to do certain sacrifice so the kids maintain respect of their father, And so it should not women should not abandon their husband. So like if you're a woman and born underneath this sign, don't leave your husband. You should not rush into risky adventures if there's older people competing. Do not attend the funeral or see the body of the dead. So you're not supposed to go to a funeral or see the body of see dead bodies because you're too close to death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't ride a horse that could damage an old man and cause one's own death. Do not cross through bushes so as not to pick up some bad things. And then there's a story behind it. I mean, it's like a lot of information. This is just one Odu.
Yeah, right. And that came from his
Don't leave the true for the doubtful. Notice given by a minor is often taken as a desperate recourse. I wonder what that means. Notice given by a minor is often taken as a desperate recourse. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
That when the brandy is spilled, it is when one realizes where it should have been. So there's like little sayings like that. You got to figure out what, like riddles. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Here it goes. The warning given by a minor is often taken as a desperate resource. Highlights a tendency to underestimate the warnings of young people. Mm-hmm. In this sign, he doesn't listen to people that's younger to him.
No.
He tends to underestimate what people are saying to him.
He's the smartest man in the world. Let him tell it.
And this saying reminds us that wisdom does not always come with age, and that sometimes the advice of minors can be valuable and deserve to be listened to carefully. So maybe that's why he has Elon Musk around. But he's not listening to him. He's not listening to Elon Musk, and they're getting into argument. Olafin gives the Iwo the power to defeat his enemies. So he can defeat. He has underlines the strength and divine protection granted to Ifa priest. So he probably would have become a Babalao.
But he's not doing none of those things because their arrogance is not going to let him do certain things.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So.
That's how we would peep his game.
Olofin. So let's talk about who Olofin is.
Okay.
The owl can overcome adversity and defeat enemies, highlighting the importance of faith and devotion in the practice of IFA. So if he was actually, in the practice, then he could do certain things to kind of overcome some of the stuff that he. Yeah. So you should not attend wakes or visit the sick. There may and as there may be a change of destination. So here's the thing: destiny swapping, right? So you go to visit someone that's sick, and then they get better, and then you end up sick. That's what that's.
Yeah.
In her house, there is a pregnant woman who needs a prayer with a cloth and bloody rags in a basket to avoid a medical operation during childbirth, which could be fatal to her and the baby. So basically, probably not have the child at the hospital. Sounds like to avoid medical operations. Try to have the baby at home, because if she goes to the hospital, they're gonna probably do a C-section and she's gonna probably die. He has a daughter who must marry a Babalawo. Although she has 4 lovers, she will not accept any of them until she finds a Babalawo. She will receive news of a sudden death. Avoid visiting 6 people, as this may alter your destiny. Again, like I said, destiny swap, right?
Yeah.
Be careful with your husband, as he may discover something inappropriate. She must associate people of good standing, must not ride horses to avoid accidents, must make a bow with horse mane. Do not eat mutton. He will find a woman with means of living who will be his partner. He must pay close attention to Eshu and not cross the jungle to avoid bad influences. In his childhood, he witnessed his parents in the sexual act, and this has caused him trauma. Be careful with drinking, as it could cost you your life. And then there's like the song that goes along with it. Like this, this is just look. This is just one Odu. We haven't even gotten through the whole thing. This is one Odu.
Yeah.
And this is not, and this is just what they have here. But honey, there's people got different books. It could go. So that's what I say when they have these readings.
Yeah.
It could go on for hours. That's what I say. Well, why you're charging? People be charging to do these readings, honey. You're giving a lot of back and forth, because the person's communicating. Hey, yeah, that you know what, that is true. So that's just one Odu, and I think when you get a reading, you get 3 Odu.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't the Babalawo read 3 different Odus that is going on?
Some do, yeah, some, yeah. It depends on the question that asked and how the answer come out. Whether it come out E-Ray, come out in Osogbo or whatever. You keep going. But like I said, this just dealing with Commander-in-Chief Trump. He came in the world under this particular Odu, and what it find out that he came in on Oyeku Ofun. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and then all that ties in to his character and everything, and many things in there, it hits him, financial. But we know he ain't made no sacrifice, because he talks about the white man's arrogance in Ifa when he came in. He would not do the sacrifice, and then he want to run the world.
So this is the website that you can go to kind of like read about the different Odus. And like I said, each Odu has like all like the stories that go behind it. Like you have like all the symptoms, all everything that you could think of that falls up underneath that situation.
Yeah. And we call them proverbs or whatever, but these are of the story of Patrick Keys, and these are storylines that falls in place to help you answer. And this is what I do.
It also gives you too like a remedy. So
right, yeah.
When you go to a tarot card reader, they're gonna just tell you what's going on. You're not gonna get
the solution. They can't give you
avert the situation. So if this particular sign comes up, and it says that you might have premature death or something like that, then there's a specific sacrifice that you do to avert that situation so that it doesn't come.
Right.
You could not do the sacrifice, but then guess what?
You're taking a chance, Russian roulette.
Chance, yeah, you're taking a chance of it happening.
Yeah, right.
But and then a lot of times you will see what will happen is you'll do the ebo, and you will see right when that situation was going to happen. It's not like it takes away the circumstance. It's just that
it makes you aware of it.
Get into it, you'll walk around it, but you'll see that this is when it was going to happen. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah. And I think I don't know how people look at it, but we just gave you an example of the power and of IFA and the system of the Odus. And there's your binary codes right there. You know.
Doesn't that look like a computer code right there?
That is what it is. You know, that's what it is.
That's so. So, what other system do you know of
That
has something that looks like this? Do you see this? This is the
yeah,
Odu.
right.
This is the 16 major Odu.
Right. O'Shea.
And the only what happens when you have a minor Odu is when you might have like 0001 and maybe 0011, and those two different things come up, and that's when you have a minor Odu. But the major Odu is when you have two of these things that are the same on both left hand side and right hand side.
Right. Let's go.
So it's you have masculine and you have feminine.
Right.
Left, right. You have light, dark, balance and imbalance, positive, negative. You understand? And then you have the four corners: north, south, east, west.
Right.
And then everything in between in a spiral. You understand what I'm saying?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
And then then you throw these things in the middle of the spiral to come up with, you create a portal basically.
Right.
And that portal is able to like tell you what's going to happen. And what do they call the website? They call websites a web portal.
Right. Portal.
That's what a website is a web portal.
Right.
So all the stuff that we're actually doing right now is really the same thing as IFA. So I want you to continue to talk. I have to take a. I'll be right back.
Right. That's it. So that's why we plan. So we was talking. So by giving an example, if we can get our spiritual leaders of IFA come together, sit down, examine all these people, and use the sacred oracles of the sacred system, binary system, we can get answers to a lot of our problems and solve a lot of them. But when you're going on this, that, and the other, and you don't have a clue what you're dealing with, this is how we make missteps and have problems. That's why I was told, let's use the Commander-in-Chief birthday, look at it and see if it even come close to him. Now, based on what she read and explained and went through, you out there that's just standing by and listening, whatever, you can tell us what you think about it. Are these some of the characteristics of the man that's running this country? And you also know that there is a energy that goes along with that's called the white man's energy. We got white female, but they bring it up this way in the interpret under that Odu, and that Odu tells you exactly the mindset of the individual that has this particular mindset and where it comes from, and then what governs it. I'm hearing y'all talking about the age of Aquarius and coming out of Pisces and this, that, and the other. Remember, if you look at the origin of the so-called zodiac, we don't have a zodiac. We have a celestial calendar that is a sacred calendar of 13 months. These 13 months govern this planet, this 13th planet, starship that we own in this dimension. And that is the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension that also operates in this dimension that people have to look at, and we don't look at, and we don't even try to look at it. We're so caught up in Eurocentric thinking, and we can't get no further than Kemet. I like the individual came in and said the Narc people. You have to look up the Narc people. Now, when I looked them up, they go back to Oyo State, way back up, I think like 63,000 BC before the Common Era. 63,000 before the Common Era. And your Bible says that the earth was created on October the 23rd, 4004 BC. That's way down the road. How can China declare that they got their thing is 7,000 and the world was created in 4,000? Then there's the Igbo people who say that they are 1.6 million years older than the Abenese story. That's a lot to try to unpack and try to get going. And we've been going through this for a while. So with Sister Monica and different ones. I'm not saying believe nothing that we say. We try to give you the documentation, the material, go look at it. And once you look at it, you decide what you want to follow. Can't tell you what to believe, what not to believe. But at least you have an opportunity to make choices based on the information that has been given before you, whether you accept it or not. Remember this: irregardless of what you accept to believe, life goes on, and whatever's on that path you're going to encounter, it's best to be prepared for what you're going to encounter, or you want to walk into it blindly. You know, I prefer to know what I'm going to run into. I can prepare myself. If I'm just going to run out here on blind faith, can't do it. So I tell people, I don't believe nothing. I don't believe shit. I have to know. And that's why we're here on Alchemizing platform with the principles of IFA. That is the thing that can mend this world because it deals on a whole different level. You know, I'm waiting for Monica to come back. We've been here 2 hours, and I'm hoping that we was informative enough. If you have any questions or comments, you know, post them, let her look at them. If you have any questions, we will address it. But we're not here to try to debate or dialogue. We're here to put information out there. And what you do with it, it's up to you. But I always say, don't believe nothing I say, do the research.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, y'all.
All right, now, so all we're saying that don't believe nothing we saying, do the research. We're giving you the information, we're giving you the material, and the choice of you what you choose to do. And you can run around chasing kindergarten cosmology and this, that, and the other, and stay on that merry-go-round. Or you can elevate yourself spiritually to achieve your purpose and your assignment. Your purpose and your assignment. Because we all have a purpose. We came with, and we do have an assignment. And that assignment is to take the gift that we have to help make the world a better place, and then make our life journey just a little bit more smooth. Sister Monica?
Yeah.
Got anything you want to share?
Yes. Now, I did with this conversation that we just had, got into science, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me go into this because IFA is most definitely a science, right?
Definitely a science.
So I wanted to show how, I wanted to show a little bit of how show you how people misinterpret things. And then we're going to just clear it up, from an IFA perspective. That's what this whole thing is about. So,
right.
Because we got into atheism and things like that.
Mm.
So, okay, let's go.
You may give me your seed and I have an egg, but within my egg, I have a baby, right? That's a baby. And then the baby can decide that, I'm gonna make a baby out of me, right?
Well, that's what religion or belief system, which I would say is not even that, it's a science, breaks down the human body as well. So each Odu connects to a human body function, connects to things in nature, connects to mental situations. So when you actually get a reading and that reading comes out, like I said, it's almost like tapping into a database of information, and then that database shoots back out an answer, and that answer can tell you if you have something wrong with your body, something wrong with your mind, something wrong with your family, all those different things. So it's not like you're just a spirit, you're getting like some intuitive thought. It's like, this is like how a doctor could go to WebMD and look up your symptoms, and then some things get spat out. So it's
I hope you don't go to WebMD, but I see your point. I'm just joking. But no, yeah, I see what you're saying.
The search engine.
So a whole lot of that Bible talk you can't say that religion and science are equatable, right? They're absolutely the opposite. Right?
No, they actually are equatable.
No, because see, they say that a woman came from a man, and science will tell you that's him.
But I don't think most of the world believe that woman came from a man. I think that shit started with some Christianity shit. I don't think that's what most of the world always taught. Like, I don't see how, like, a man don't got a womb to even give birth and shit like that.
No, but if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in God, the Bible, then you do believe in that, and they do believe in that. Yes, they do. They think.
Oh, I don't believe in the Bible.
Right, but the ones who do, we know that that's scientifically impossible. Along with many things that's in the Bible, it's scientifically impossible.
To keep it real with you, if you don't take the Bible literal, you could actually gain from the stories and learn some shit. But if
Yeah,
you
like
take it literal, you're not gonna learn shit. You're just gonna be, you know what I'm saying?
Like, remember that big book? I'm not sure what your age group is, and I don't even know if it exists anymore. It used to be this big book of fables with Jack and Jill and all
Right,
those.
right.
So those stories had a right. You read the story.
Aesop's fable. Aesop's fable.
Yeah, well, that's what the Bible is, right? That's the Bible. Each story got something that it's trying to say, and it's written by different people, just like that book of fables, written by different people, different stories, and that's what the Bible is.
I want to show you how science can become religion, because religion is something that you practice on a regular basis. If I get up and brush my teeth every day, I religiously brush my teeth every day.
No, but you know we ain't talking about that, girl. Now you trying to gaslight.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to explain that your most atheistic person is practicing a religion. Why? Because they're just worshiping what's it called? Evolution. They worship
no, just because you're atheist don't mean you worship evolution. That's ridiculous. We know that. We know exactly what religion means. When y'all try to gaslight it, and that's what you will say. But just because you brush your teeth every day don't mean that that's a religion. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Oh, that's crazy talk.
The etymology of religion, and then you tell me, because if you don't know the meaning of the word and you're just saying it, then you wouldn't see.
Apparently, you don't know the meaning of the word. If you just said just because you brush your teeth every day, that means that's religion.
It's law. That's all.
It's what? Is brushing your teeth law?
If you do it on a regular basis, you say I'm gonna do it every day and do it every day, and that's what I'm supposed to do every single day.
Don't make it law. No, there's a difference between something you do and something you're supposed to do.
Law that you create of your own self.
Man, y'all don't listen. Okay, now we're proving that black women can be just non-readable as black men, right? You just saying things. That's got to be.
You've been saying things the whole time, man.
Okay, just because you do something as a habit or something, you go to work every day. Is that a religion?
Okay. The word
you could do it religiously. Like if I see what she's trying to say.
The actual meaning. Hold on.
I'm talking about two different things.
Religion are not the same. One is
etymology.
Noun and one is action, a verb.
Bond, reverence. Okay. Religare, to bind. Okay. So if I do something, I bind myself to that every single day, then I am doing something in a religious manner. So if I go to church every day, or I look at this Bible and say that this is the thing, and I'm bonded to it, bound to that. If I'm bound to science, then I'm doing something, I'm practicing my own version of religion. I'm binded to that thought pattern.
Man, y'all got to listen. Go and learn what
middle English
are, verbs are, nouns are. Like you need to go and learn what those things are, and then think about what you've been saying on this panel just in a few last seconds. Okay, the word religiously and religion are not the same thing.
Say religiously. I said religion.
Right. So I just want when you do something every day, like a habit or whatever, you could say you're doing it religiously.
You know what this is called? This is called playing semantics. Because look at this, right? If I say I got a weapon, you might expect me to have a gun, a knife, a bomb, something, right? But if I just got a vase, you could say, well, you could use that as a weapon, but no, it's not a weapon. Or if I got a hammer, it's a weapon. But but Genesis is saying the hammer is a weapon, but bomb is saying she's because I think you know what she's saying, but I think we just playing semantics.
Right, playing game. Right.
I know what you're saying.
Anything can be used as a weapon, but it doesn't make a weapon.
But she's arguing with me, saying that a person that the actual etymology of a word does not make any.
But DJ Genesis, you know that people who's into Scientology, they don't claim a religion, even though we would say that is not Scientology. People who claim to be atheists, they say they don't claim a religion, but we would, but you would say that science is their religion because they believe in scientific facts, but they actually don't claim a religion. So that's why I'm saying you're playing semantics, because you know what she's saying.
Just because they're atheists don't mean they believe in science neither. They could not believe in science, and they could not
believe but they're not claiming a religion though. That's why they're atheists.
Because they don't claim one of the main 5 major religions. You're saying that science, when you actually look at the actual
I think there are thousands of religions, and so even if they there's thousands of them. Thousands of religions, and so we're not talking about no main 5. Because you even mentioned a religion I had never really heard of, or something like that. I don't even know how to spell it to look it up.
Is one word, so that's actually what they say in Benin. There's different ways that they say it.
Right, but I'm saying I never heard of it. But my point is, there's thousands of religions, right? Thousands, and
science is one of them.
Well, science is not a religion. Scientology. So y'all see, if you don't understand Scientology, they just wanted to claim that there was a religion for tax purposes, right? So so that's it. There's no religion in it, none. They're not even sciencing Scientologists. So you need to know. If you don't know that though, you will hear Scientology and you assume that that's a religion. No, in fact, they were just getting that credit because the guy who created it wanted to be able to get money, get wealthy, and not have to pay taxes. And that's all that is. They don't have no beliefs in nothing. Okay. And he was a cult leader. So if you don't know that, then you'll think something different. But
the reason why I say that science is religion, and let me give you an example, okay? They can find some bones, right? They can prove, okay, well, this is what this bone means, right? And then they find another bone, and then after all this thing, this is what they believe, okay? Because all this is religion based on belief, right? And science is based on evidence, okay? So science will find evidence that could be debunked later on, and so people at this whole thing will believe that this is the truth, and then they find something.
Everybody who goes to the hospital, science is their religion. Then
people that
like she's ridiculous. See, because she's using the word belief. Now she using the word just because you believe in something, it must mean religion. With this false as hell, just because so you can believe in something because the science said one thing, but they find that it's not true. That's happening all history. But that doesn't mean that it's a religion. It just means nothing. They
let her hear what would you say, Genesis?
All I'm breaking down is how science and religion, people try to think that it's two separate things, but the bottom line is when you actually look at the bottom line of science, it's basically you're binded to an idea, and the only thing that science saying
that IFA is your religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you claim that as a religion. People who scientists don't claim that shit as their religion.
Wait, no, let me ask you a question. I doing it. So is eating chicken your religion?
I do it every day on a regular basis. That's what all I eat, whatever, and that's what I.
Okay, but is it your religion?
If I do it on a regular basis, I'm bonded to it. And that's all I eat.
So, and that's how ridiculous.
Because if I say, well, all I do, this is a fact.
You wake up every day. Is that your religion? Waking up,
and then I base everything I do on that. Then you're no different than a religious person because that thing could be debunked when more evidence comes clear.
Is eating chicken could be debunked?
No, that's different. Wait a minute. Don't let her get it. Don't let her run bomb. That is different because look at this. Religion you believe in without even needing to see any proof of anything. You just having faith. It's like blind faith. But science, you see some type of evidence that you buy into. Like you seen something. You know what I mean? You see if somebody throws something up, it fall down. So this is why them people saying that is not a religion, but a religion is something more where you gotta just believe in that shit. You know what I mean?
But hold on.
Wait. Let me say this. I gotta go. Hubby want me. So I just want to say I had a great conversation with y'all, and especially you, Detroit. How you say name? DJ Genesis. So don't think just because I'm giving pushback don't mean that But I enjoy your conversation, girl, because you stand on what you stand on. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, Dr. DJ Witch Doctor. Thank you for having me, and everybody in the chat, and everybody in the panel. Thank you for having me. I'll see y'all later.
There's a reason why I say what I say. I'll see you later too. There's a reason why I say that science and religion go hand in hand because at one point in society, science and religion worked together. There was no argument. You know what I'm saying? There was a time.
As a matter of fact, the people who created religion know science. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that when you start to separate out science and religion and compartmentalize it, that's where you have a problem at. African tradition is based on science and spirituality, which and then people religiously practice.
So by your logic, right? Everything somebody practice, all forms of spirituality is religion, and there's no difference from being a spiritual person and being a religious person. As a matter of fact, if anything, I'm more spiritual than you because I don't got nothing that I practice other than get to it. You know what I'm saying? That probably might be my religion. Get into it.
Religion. You understand what I'm saying? If you get into that money, whatever it is that you do every day to get up and do that you're binded to every day. Like, I got to get up every day and get on YouTube to make this money. That's your religion.
So YouTube is this is my church right now. Then,
right? I think that people, like I said, listen to what I'm saying. If you let me just get this out. So, like I said, at one time, science and religion were one and the same. You know what I'm saying? When people would go to the priest, okay, the priest would not only have a connection to God, but also be able to heal you, right? And they had scientific things that they would do based on herbs and things like that within nature, because all science is the study of nature. So, what do you think these priests were doing? They studied nature and they knew how to heal people within the community. So it was a combination of the belief in and also in what they were doing and God, and then also the scientific breakdown of these herbs and things like that, elements in nature to be able to heal the community. Okay. So that's why I say it's not separate. People try to separate it, and that's where the mistake is.
The reason I would separate it because I would look at a religious person versus a scientific person versus a spiritual person, right? I would say the spiritual person is somebody that is open to more truths and is a little bit more fluid, right? I would say the scientific person, they want to see more concrete evidence. They want to show and prove stuff. You know what I'm saying? But a religious person, to me, that's like just blind faith. Like you're just going along with something based on belief. You don't gotta see proof that it's true or not true. You're just going along with it.
You want to know? You want to know why I believe they separated science from religion? Is because think about this: the entire scientific health community gives you a pill that does not heal heal the underlying problem. Okay, and if they were really practicing things from a spiritual matter, they would get to the root of the cause. When they would practice holistically, they wouldn't give you something that gives you one thing and then give you something else and only fix like the actual symptoms versus the actual problem. I think that the way that when they separated science out, so they have this thing called the placebo effect, right? Where they can give you a sugar pill and tell you that it has something in it, and then you will in your mind believe that this thing is going
And
to
you heal yourself. Yeah.
So hello, so where did that placebo effect come from? Did that always exist, or did it only exist when scientists were able to measure it?
I mean, look at this.
What do you think? Okay, so I just wanted to play that part and just to and Baba, what are your thoughts about what that conversation had in it? There's a lot of like moving parts. What is your thoughts? You there, Baba? I wanted to kind of get to really discuss the aspect of the placebo effect, right? Because people in science, you know, they will they'll say, well, you guys just believe in faith. But what they would but there is an aspect of science that's unaccounted for, and that is the placebo effect. So that person's faith in what they believe in, and faith in that they'll be healed, and so then therefore they'll be healed, even though you just gave them some sugar. That's not going to heal nothing. So what
Well,
are your
you know, well, most sicknesses is psychological in the first place. They tell you that. That's why they give you things that look like substitute. Do you remember being in the service? We had a thing called an APC pill.
no?
You don't?
Is that
You
what they
hear?
have you line up and then give them shots?
No, it's called a all-purpose compound like an aspirin. APC pill, which give them to us.
Yeah.
It's called all-purpose compound.
They gave us ibuprofen.
Yeah, that's what it was. When they called it APC. Because
right.
the guys went out that week on the town, come back. My TI said, I don't want my pipes been in the bathroom. Y'all don't mind caught some. So everybody had to take this pill when they got back and flood, trying to get their system out. Because, syphilis and gonorrhea and all these things. There's a thing called an APC pill, all-purpose compound, which was ibuprofen. That's what it was.
Wait, no, wait. APC probably was just a penicillin. It probably was some kind of a. You think because ibuprofen only clears up inflammation. So if they were,
but Sergeant Carr, when I was at Lackland in Lackland Air Force Base, whenever we come out downtown from San Antonio, down off for being out on the weekend, we had they call it APC. It could have been whatever, but it wasn't a shot. It was a pill, and that pill supposed to help us overcome symptoms of gonorrhea. I'm going like that. Shit. A lot of oh my goodness. That brought back memories.
Penicillin. They said, okay, well, here's your
penicillin. It probably penicillin, They
very high thing of
APC. All-purpose compound.
I had some penicillin, amoxicillin,
probably one of them, but who are we? You in boot camp. You don't know what, and then you go get ready to go overseas. You go down and get all them shots. They put you on the line and shoot you in both arms, one with a needle, one with that air, with the one with air behind it. No.
Yep.
Oh man. I got 32 shots one time.
We have gotten all kind of experiments putting on us.
Yeah, we were guinea pigs from jumping from day one.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to tell you that the military like to give ibuprofen out for everything.
Yeah, but I learned later on
what it is. You just gonna get some ibuprofen.
Yeah, they love to practice on it. We had to go to the dentist and all that, and he getting there. That's why I had a lot of silver in my mouth. I was in Vegas because silver was very prominent in Vegas. It's hard to get paper money. Everything was silver in Vegas, so they fill our teeth with silver. As I got older and the silver began to break, I lost so many. I got to get but my mouth redone now. But I mean, civil was they put it in there. I mean, they would do it anyway. We don't want to get too far, but back to the principles and things of IFA. I think we gave them a scenario of how it worked when we broke down Commander in Chief's birthday and how they would do it in IFA. And if I was off by it, I mean, you tell me, priestess. But I think that's most time they ask. Most of them ask you for your date of birth and your mother's maiden name. Well, your mother's maiden name really don't matter when it comes to your. It was it Ita, the path of life, path of your life pattern. And
right.
I
And
learned how to do.
and just FYI, the reason why I played that that little sequence of that conversation was
Right.
because I wanted to like show people that and how they will argue from a very ignorant standpoint and don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And just for the sake of arguing. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
And then I wanted to show the breakdown of this religion as a science, and then the actual problem that science and spirituality at some point work together. You know what I'm saying? And somehow they got separated. People also want to separate and say, "Oh, religion versus spirituality." They want to like just pit everything together. But anything that you do on a regular basis is a religion.
it's a ritual, it's religious, you know,
Right.
and
Practice
whether
is
you
a
accept
religion.
it or not, it is what it is. You know, what we want to call it
So
that.
people get hung up on these titles of things, and at the end of the day, the like, are you getting the information though? You know what I'm saying?
The main
Are you
thing.
what are you able to do with that information that is going to change your life? So, so like we're currently in this wartime situation. We just showed you the whole system, right? That is not just a person just feeling the spirit. There is written down this information that this number plus this number equals out to this information. You understand what I'm saying? This is the symbol for that, and this is what's underneath that symbol, and this is everything that's beneath it. You understand what I'm saying? There is no guesswork.
No.
100%. Like, okay, this is what that Odu stands for. That they, it doesn't stand for nothing more than what's underneath that information right there. Now, some of the remedies and sacrifices might have changed because based on location and geographical place, you probably can't get on that. Or
yes, certain laws you can't do so, but you can go back and ask for substitutes or things that can replace that, because you might be aware they have animal rights. You can't do that, so you go. This is why I use a lot of herbs. I ask, well, can I use this herb to represent this, to do that, and give herbal baths and stuff like rather than always blood, because even just the very juice of things is considered blood. But yeah, like I said, once again, I must I agree, because it depends on location, where you are, and the accessibility in order to get certain things to do that, you know. But I think it was pretty good because we were able to give them an example. We gave them Ogun. We also introduced them to something that many of them have not introduced to, because you can't keep using the other man's stuff to help you. You got to stay within your lane, within your lane, you know. And everybody's not in the same lane, and that's what I love about IFA, and I'll always embrace IFA. I've been through most so-called um, organizer of religions, but IFA is by far have did more to help, and it have saved me from a lot of health problems that I could have avoided, by listening when I failed to listen. You know, like I told other times, says I kept feeling, because sometimes Orumila will come to you with an unction and tell you need to do this. This is going to happen. And if you listen to that inner small voice, 9 times out of 10, that's Orumila or your guardian Orisha telling you, because they do speak to you. I don't care what nobody say, they do speak. And they speak in a language, it ain't in Yoruba, it ain't in French, it ain't in Latin. It's in a language that you can comprehend. You know. So I tell everybody, I know we appreciate the Yoruba nation for the language, but and that's because we want to be different. But Ifa understands all languages, all dialects. If you use the system, you can speak it in gibberish. Ifa understand. You understand? it'll
Wait,
get
I'm
your
gonna
answer.
show you something. I'm gonna show you something that's gonna trip you out. What did it say he
Okay.
got to avoid? What did it say that they had to avoid? Horses.
Yeah,
What did it say right there?
I'm trying to see where you're at.
Oh, you can't see it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Let's see. Trump wants. Whoa! No, you didn't. What? Oh, come on, baby. Are you serious? Genesis, are you serious?
Listen. So
Are you serious?
his one-time dabble in horse racing. He said he denies the story, but it was they're saying.
Okay, what did that? We saw it in the reading. I bet you that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yep.
Man. Man, that's calling it like it is. Now, it kept bringing up about the horse in his reading. Yeah. I
had to run to the door.
I understand.
But there you go. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure if you look up, if you now, he's old enough. I bet you if you look up some of the stuff that is under that, you'll find out that he had some of them situations happen in his life.
Yeah. Trump once almost killed Trump once almost killed a racehorse.
Trump's journey into sport began and ended with one horse. A total disaster.
Yeah.
A few hours after running, the horse's legs began shaking uncontrollably. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so what did it say? It says you stay away from horses.
Yeah.
It said that a couple times, like no horses, no horses.
Yeah.
So that's how crazy it could get,
Yeah. That's it.
So,
wow. Well, I think we had a pretty good show today. We got 2.5 hours in. And
yeah.
I think we've learned some things, and we're going to.
I think that's a good ending right there. I think that right there. This right here, I think that right there is crazy right there. Because we showed that's a good thing to end on right there.
Right there, okay, yeah.
Show about IFA and how because we like, well, how you know it's true, and it's how you know, boom.
Yeah, that is, and it's in the reading. That's we can pause it, we can look at that and there. Okay, oh yeah, cool, oh boom. And it's in the reading. It's in there,
It'll say that. It say about horses. Stay away from horses.
Well, horses, yeah.
All right, y'all. So I hope that we got some good information. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. This was really eye-opening. Yesterday, my birthday was 2 days ago. Hey, listen to me. Please, if you can, please support me. Support the channel on my birthday. I didn't get no gifts, y'all. Nobody gave me.
Oh wow. Well, let me apologize. Let me apologize. We want to give.
Listen, even if y'all send me $1 on my birthday, because nobody got me that on my birthday.
Wait a minute. We can't let that happen.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So we're gonna play this money song because honey.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
we got to do something for you. Yeah.
Money coming to the pictures right here. So here we go.
I am blessed to make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. I ain't stressed, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh, I am blessed. I am blessed to make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. I ain't stressed, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full.